What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today I'm going to show you what Dr. Umar Johnson considers a black conservative to be. Okay, so if you stay close to the end of the video, you'll see what Dr. Umar got to say about black conservatives, the Prince of Pan-African. Okay, because I've been preaching it. It's like if you have eyes and you can see, if you have ears and you can hear, if you have what we consider common sense, which I continue to find out as I get older and talk to people, that common sense ain't common. If you don't understand by now that the current Republican Party, all right, not to be confused with other classes of Republican parties, but this current batch of white politicians that encompasses the Republican Party that is currently in power right now, if it hasn't occurred to you that they are white nationalists, white supremacists, with the express intentions on reinstating their power within this country by promoting regressive policies. So far, they done took rights away. They took several rights away. They done made us backtrack as Americans. We done backtracked with these Republicans. We've backtracked. And if people don't understand how politics works, you think it's the politicians, you think it's inconsequential just to say F it and vote a guy like Donald Trump in. What you don't understand, when you're voting in politicians, just because you like them or because they're popular, because they may have a particular viewpoint that you like, and you're a single issue voter, but you don't think about what happens, what is the consequences behind those individuals in these parties. You see, when you elect Republicans, conservative Republicans, you also elect hundreds and hundreds of judges, hundreds and hundreds of conservative judges who have the power to legislate from the bench. You see, real power happens in the Supreme Court. That's why we got all these, once we got this conservative Supreme Court, once they had the majority, that's when you start seeing the regressive policies that they've been trying to implement for years, taking away women's rights, the government taking away a right from a woman, taking away affirmative action. They're doing everything they can through the judiciary system, right? In states, local municipalities, and on a federal level, as much as they possibly can to empower white people, to disenfranchise people of color and black people. That's what's happening here. And they've also managed to trick gullible, weak-minded black men and some gullible, weak-minded black women that the Republican Party has their best interests at hand. And the reason why they don't is because you can't find one black Republican that can tell you anything that's factual about the Republicans when it comes to them supporting us. All you hear them do is talk about how they don't like the libs or the Democrats without really being able to tell you why they don't like them, other than we have not gotten everything that we've wanted out of our politicians, which no group of people on the planet, since there has been such thing as politics, has ever gotten everything that they wanted from the politicians that they support in the history of civilization. So people are mad about stuff they can't control, right? And you've never heard me prop up the Democrats unwarranted. You never hear me champion Joe Biden. I don't like Joe Biden, right? But he's better than Donald Trump, because I know Joe Biden, being the president, being a Democrat, he's going to elect centrist and liberal and progressive judges who will legislate from the bench, and they will force progressive and liberal policies that are popular with the American people. Overwhelmingly, by 80% popular judges who cannot be just, they're not elected. These people are on these benches for life. So when you elect a politician, especially to the White House, when you elect a president, you're electing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of judges that can make decisions that can change your life, and there's nothing you can do about it to vote them out. That's what you guys need to understand. But I'm gonna stop talking, because the Republicans, the party of white nationalism, right, and their pet coons, black Republicans, are the enemies of black people, enemies of Pan-Africanism, enemies of the American society that supposedly is promised all right, because they're regressive. They are the enemies of America. They are not patriots. They're a quasi cult-like terrorist group, manufacturing and becoming even more violent, not just politically, but actually violent, because we actually have MAGA, right-wing, conservative, Christian, evangelical males committing actual acts of terror on the American population, and we pretend like it's just individual lone wolves that have mental illness. You see how they get a built-in excuse, right? So without further ado, check out this video. At this point, if you don't understand that black Republicans are the enemies, black conservatives are the enemies of black progress, of anybody's progress in this country, because they have chosen to support and back white supremacy. They have chosen a side, and that side is white supremacies. There are white supremacists in blackface. That's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn some, teach some. I'm out.
Black people need to stop complaining about systemic racism and take some personal responsibility. Everyone is equal under the law now. They may be policed more, but that's only because they commit a disproportionate amount of the crime. Why? Well, I'm not saying that black people are naturally more likely to be criminals or anything. I just think it's a part of their culture. Why? Well, probably because their dads weren't around to raise them properly. Why? I don't know, probably because they were too poor to afford a kid, so they left. Why? Well, they probably can't get a good job because they never went to college. Why? Well, I guess it is probably because they couldn't afford it, but they didn't get good enough grades to get a scholarship either. Why? Well, I guess that is probably because their school is underfunded. Why? Because school funding is determined by property taxes, and they were born into poor areas. Why? Because their family hasn't been able to build enough wealth to move out. Why? Because the first black people who were born with equal rights under the law are less than 60 years old.
Clear. You agree that white nationalists should not be serving in the U.S. military. Is that what you're saying?
If people think that a white nationalist is a racist, I agree with that. I agree they should.
A white nationalist is someone who believes that the white race is superior to other races.
Well, that's some people's opinion, and I don't think.
That's not
a lot.
opinion.
Pardon?
What's your opinion?
My opinion of a white nationalist, if somebody wants to call him white nationalist, to me is an American. It's an American. Now, if that white nationalist is a racist, I'm totally against anything that they want to do, because I am 110% against racism.
Explain why you continue to insist that white nationalists are American.
Listen, I'm totally against racism. And if the Democrats want to say that white nationalists are racist, I'm totally against that too.
But that's not a Democratic definition. The definition of a white nationalist
Well, that's
is someone...
your definition. My definition
It
is
the
racism
definition.
bad.
The
Next question.
The definition is that the belief that the white race is superior to all other races.
Totally out of the question.
So do you believe that white nationalists are racist?
Yes, if that's what a racist is, yes. Thank you.
But that is the definition.
This is the biggest ideal in the world. I've been to 50 countries. I've been on 5 continents. There's no place like America. Yes, no place. Listen, I tell people this, and most people don't know this. 340,000 slaves lived here in 1692. 2 million blacks came here voluntarily. Wow. How can it be racist if 2 million blacks decide to come here on their own? Listen, you come here, the reason why people come because it's free, man. It's freedom, liberty, justice for all. We all have a right to live right, be right, and do right. Listen, take care of yourself, take care of your family, tell your kids, learn civics. Learn civics. Yeah. Stop hating your country. Listen, there's no such thing as 1691 book. 1776, the birth of America. You guys all remember that. America is great because we made it great. Yeah. We made it great. The people made it great.
More. A black conservative is nothing more than a black person who wants to conserve the status quo. That's it. So the next time a Negro tells you I'm a conservative, the next time a Negro tells you I'm a conservative, he's admitting he's a coon. Conservative. Conservative. He or she wants to preserve the white power structure as it is. We want to conserve this great country the way it is. We want to conserve the inequity. We want to conserve the racism. We want to conserve the police genocide. We want to conserve the miseducation. We want to conserve the lack of resources in the black community. We want to conserve white Jesus. A black conservative is a status quo gatekeeper. A black conservative is a status quo gatekeeper. Was Mao Zedong a conservative during the Chinese Revolution? Was Chiang Kai-shek a conservative during the Vietnamese Revolution? Was the Shah of Iran a conservative during the Iranian Revolution? Was George Washington and Thomas Jefferson a conservative during the American Revolution? Show me anybody who has ever brought meaningful change who claims to be a conservative. A black conservative is a coon.
Tell me you're a conservative without actually telling me you're a conservative.
I'm fucking racist. LGBT, more like ABCD. I am very funny.